And there's an amazing divergence here we're beginning to see when you look at those who have less than a high school degree, that's there in blue, pointing upward. You look at those who have some college or an associate's degree, that's beginning to point down more dramatically than it had in the past. What does that tell us about the types of jobs that are being created in this U.S. economy today?
Well, a lot of the jobs are relatively low-wage jobs. This economy is expanding in healthcare, leisure activities, education to some degree, but there are a lot of low-paying jobs in education, teachers' aides, that sort of thing. So what we're seeing is a lot of expansion of people who are on the edge of the workforce are now being drawn in. People whose education was a bit lower. There's been a lot of talk over the last few years about how a lot of people are overqualified for their jobs. The economy had been growing so slowly, a lot of college-educated people were kind of going down the ladder rather than up the ladder. Well, the economy has expanded so much that we're now at a point where, as the labor force continues to grow and job demand increases, we're pulling back in people who perhaps couldn't compete with the more highly educated people. And that's what we're beginning to see. I'll say one other thing about it. What's interesting about this is the change is mostly happening amongst women. It's women in the labor force, less educated. I'm not saying they're not educated. I'm just saying that without college degrees, and they're coming back into the labor force in large numbers. And it's the college-educated women, their participation is going down a little bit. So there's some sociological thing going on there as well. But it's mostly the fact that as the economy has expanded and we've reached deeper into the labor pool, we're finding that people who perhaps couldn't compete on the basis of their educational attainment now can.
All right, let me, Kevin, bring you over to my chart now. We're calling this an unqualified America. Now, this is basically hiring plans, right? You're looking at small businesses' hiring plans continuing to climb, and that's the top one in yellow. For our radio listeners, I will push it out on social media. But the number of jobs that are hard to fill are also climbing in tandem. So is the problem basically qualifications?
Well, Francine, it's interesting. If you look at the chart, both lines tend to move up simultaneously. They're paralleling each other. That's more or less a measure of what's going on in the economy in general terms. As hiring demand goes up and people are entering the labor force, we see the economy expand. Both numbers go up. So I think it's telling us basically the same thing that the unemployment rate is telling us, that the labor market is strong, that the available number of workers is diminishing, that the likelihood of demand increasing continues, and we're likely to see a healthy expansion of the economy for the rest of this year.